is we'll put that fuel pipe in yonder. That's what we're going to do. I'll put a little of that gasola on there. That's the green. This is the green one right here. You know, it's good for that alcohol fuel. They tell me at least. A little drip there will be just sufficient to go right inside there, so you'll have a little bit to push ahead. This is a new pipe right here. It being the correct one for this engine of 1920, remember? It being the correct size, I wanted to use it. This one with the igniter, this year model, in the repair manual shows it coming straight out, not the common one with the bend in it. You know, whatever the torque is on that right there is this little wrench right here and this aluminum pipe. But it had a soft feel to it, if you know what I mean. It was like it was tight, but it wasn't over tight. And the cap, that's the original one. It has a hole in it. And I did put a cotter in there to keep a dirt dauber from building a nest in it. It makes that vent hole stay open. Get that excessive gasola off right there, you know. So that's all there are to the fuel system on these, and a word of something I done found out about this is this fuel tank does not have the traditional vent over here on the side as the later ones do. So the vent for this fuel system vents back through the return pipe. So it does have a vent in it, in case you didn't want to drill a hole in that gas cap right there. That was a nice one, so I chose to use it on this engine. And that's what was on it when I got it, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll hook up this governor now. Well, that was a project for the evening. And I'll bring y'all along if you want me to. The top governor that goes on this one is this right here. It's got that. It's got this other adjustment on it, and it's got a little locking screw on the bottom right there. Once you set that, you can lock it and it don't vibrate loose. But and the set screw sets onto the flat. Onto the and back that lock nut up right there out of the way, not to be confused if it was the seat before that it was tight. And I think we'll put a spacer in here, a shim, to tighten up this movement this way. This one here, it's worn, but these matched. I did check it when I when I was looking for the parts, and it does fit pretty good. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But all we're going to do here is line up this flapper here with this thing right here and put that linkage in there, and then we're going to put this back under. But the first thing you got to do is get this up in there, and then you can jimmy this front and back. It's not hard to do. Being that there's a guide pin in there on the front and the back, and there's a flat on that. Well, she said just you better show it to them, but there's a flat on here, and you can see it's been in 3 different positions in its lifetime. And if this right here gets bent or bumped or something and that gets tight, then you can loosen that up and get a little play on it. It's real important that's a good fit right there too. Line it up on the front one, and the front, that little guide down there hanging down, put your finger up in there and push that rod back to where it's level with that, and then you can stick this thing right here up there and then stick it on through there. Okay, observing this flat on this governor rod. That's a long one. It's got a flat in there. It's been adjusted there 3 or more times, and the adjustment where I just stuck that in there and hand tightened it, I can see a round shiny circle right there in line with the other ones, confirming that I'm in the right plane as according to back here. But the problem is this piece up here, in accordance with the angle on the flat part back here, the front part needs to be bent up quite a lot. And I know that by seeing that right there, that I need to file that flat that much further this way, so that when I put it back in there to the same position of this up here, and I'm going to twist that upwards, but because it actually needs to come away from those springs just a little bit, and I'll show you something. The question was, someone said, what is patina? Describe patina to you. Okay, this line right here is a little close. Okay. Okay, see, I adjusted that line with that wrench right there. So that right there, see them wrench marks on that line right there? Okay, not too many days goes by and that's patina. I'm just saying. Back to this I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna file that down. I think that'd be good enough right there. remember we're lining up this shaft and this shaft, little pins right there, in alignment like that right here, plumb up and down. So, and that's about the position of it that I would like for it to be, or it requires itself to be. So I'm gonna come back here at the back and hold that about right there with that hand, put that yoke over like that, and tighten up that set screw in the bottom with the other hand, and see, let it find flat as I'm holding pressure on the little set screw with my fingers, you know, twist it back and forth. Okay, I think that right there is where it's going to be at, and it's as tight as I can get it finger tight, so I can lightly test it backwards and forwards on the engine that way, how much play it is, and judge it. Okay, it's something, and then doing that and looking back here at the same time, well, actually it ain't nothing. You know what I mean? It's I can't make that any better. In the realms of mechanics and such, and you've seen how long it took me there, fidgeting it around in order to get that measurement correct. And you notice we've been working on it all evening, playing and such, and I haven't turned the flywheels yet. And we'll get to that soon enough. But we got that thing in yonder, and that thing in yonder, and that little thing down there like that, and we'll put that spring and that thing on there. But that's a secondary adjustment. For the time being, well, I got to build one of them mufflers right there for a 10 horsepower. You know, it's got to be done. So I'm working with this hand back here through the flywheels, and finagling it up here to where that I'm comfortable as I try to tighten that screw some more where flat is. And I think that's it, where it's at now. So I'm gonna put a little, I'm gonna tighten that a little bit. Just that much. And I'm gonna come back and I'm going to test it again. I'm going to hold that fork and move this right here a little bit. And you have to hold it somewhere where you can feel something, which, but by doing that right there and holding this right here, you know, and doing that right there with that, just that one little bit of tightness, then the only wire in this engine, and it's something that needs to be addressed on quite a few of them, is where the shaft here, where this long governor rods goes through that head. They need a bushing in there. It needs to be a good fit. Okay, I'm going to tighten this back up here, that set screw, because at some point you're going to have to decide where it's going to be at, and I think it's right there's where it's going to be. And I still got some threads on that, and you do want that tight. You know what I mean? Don't twist the thing off, but which that's probably enough. But well, I could do that, but okay, that set screw is it's set tight, so I'm going to go ahead and put that collar nut up there and tighten it up also. with a fair amount of tightness. Okay, let's go back up here and see what we got, because now it's seated and it can't be moving around now, because you put that shim in there and it don't come forward and backwards, you know, like this right here. I mean, and this should be the tension on that governor rod right there. None. You know, it's free everywhere, no binding whatsoever. And at the same time, when you're doing that up there, well, what's taking place is, I'll go around front there and show you. Is this right here? What I'm talking about. Okay, to show you what it was that we was talking about is this. When you look down in yonder, okay, you can observe that whoa. You can observe that collar right there has been brazed. It's a brilliant repair on that collar, to the extent which it's better than the original one. You know, it's like two of the best parts was put together to make one. I didn't do it. Some other mechanic did that, and I'm impressed enough to leave it right there where it's at. But the point of this governor working correctly is that these right here, this collar, and it's supposed to fit this one, and on the opposite side over here, the same thing. It's supposed to fit them at the same time, and it's supposed to have the same amount of clearance from each side of that, and you can notice right yonder, that is right on it, that and right there. You know, I'm going to turn that in for grade. That's all I'm saying about that. The collar that someone so well repaired, they have even turned it on the lathe. I didn't do that. And it's, it's really good. It's really good here in real life. Very good. Enough to where that I would not try to hide that with paint, by no means. Okay, with that set tight back there and all, remember we got a spring and a adjusting nut to go on that back there. But at this point, you just want that to be free with no obstructions on anything. So now we're concerned with the straight up and down right there. If you remember, all the way back to one of the first videos, we talked about that governor being, somebody repaired that before that we've got it here. So it works really good. And that arm goes like that. And I'm looking at it sideways here, you know, from here to here to here, to see if it's straight up and down. And if it's some little bit or something, you can put a shim behind it and one in front of it. You know, there's a lot of room right there. These that will fit onto there, and most times they're quite thick. Okay, I do have. Now this one right here, that's good to go. You just put a cutter in there and you're good to go there. And this one up here, it has room for another spacer. So I can either put it on the outside there like that. Let's see. Let's drop one of these in there to make sure. Okay, see there's a place right there where that spacer is completely free. We'll cut that cutter off once we get this adjustment. and the top, it keeps wanting to migrate out. So I'm thinking it should have one spacer behind and one spacer this way to set it correct. Even to the point that I'm going to choose this one for the bottom and use these two at the top. Oh, I got a little burr on that one right there. I'm going to take a file to that. Oh yeah. Okay, see, that's too much. It leaves a gap at the bottom immediately. So yeah, I'm going to put two on the outside and one down there, the thinner one. And we'll file that burr off that around. She said, "You've been talking about in your sleep." I said, "What?" She said, "That's CNC flash cut software for that old Grizzly mill you got in there. It costs too much." And, I need to upgrade to some CNC stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, I really do. I got a project. So in the meantime, I'll just be filing these down, by hand. I get a CNC machine. I'll chuck these up in there, and, that's my problem is that software. Carrying on with this project right here. We should cut one of these, both of them. We should cut two cotters off. If you was doing it, had a factory one, then you would know where that straight across here is, on account of the governor has a little notch cut in the little pop metal thing in there. Okay, and I don't have that luxury because this is a repaired one. So what I'm going to do is back here on the rear. When you set these springs loose, like this right here, take your spring loose there, and take your spring loose over here. Okay, now it's easy to manipulate that collar right there. These governor weights. Okay, when this governor comes to its outermost position with the fork back there making contact on that collar, everything's tight and secure, well oiled. So I'm holding my finger in there to hold them blocks out because I'm using the spring right in yonder now for tension on the whole system because the springs are loose in the back. So I do have pressure. This was a factory one. Well, I'll show you. If you take this off, then this right here has no spring action back there. It just can go free. But this one right here, it has a, and I'll tell you the deduction here that I'm using in order to set this up and start the engine in a safe manner is best I can do it. is I've got the springs loose, the governor weights are out, and that's tied against that, which right there, I'm holding those out, that's over there, and that's over there. Okay, when I let go of all that, that's exactly where that bottom pin should be, an adjustment to be made here. As to put this in when this comes up like this right here, you're supposed to have some measurement, you know. Well, you put this in here. And on this one right here, when you come around and you can actually feel the flapper come around and hit the side of the intake chamber there, the passage, not the intake chamber, the passage. Okay, when it comes around and hits that, that means that it's straight across and it's blocked all the fuel off. All the air, everything's coming here, it's off. Okay, that's the position that I want this and this right here to match. So, this is too much. I've actually overbent it, so I'm going to bend it backwards. The way you judge the measurement on this choke right here, on this governor, the way you measure that is when that's adjusted back under, and you put this lever onto the bottom, and you come up there, it's supposed to overlap the top right there to the point where that you can actually stop the engine by completely having that governor plate straight across to come up to that position, and that coincides with the little gap in there. So with not having that little gap, then you just adjust it to that. I think it's a 16th or 3/32. I'll look it up there what it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be some. Okay, at this point, when those governor weights maxes out, the setting of that fork and all tightened up, the shape of this lever right here, and it's in line with the whole system, so it's correct at this point. It was below the other time before straightening it and then re-straightening it, but there's plenty of room. It's correct now, in alignment of each other. So, but it needs to be longer. So at this point, I'm going to opt to do it this way, to screw this out, to make this longer. And I think it'll probably be that many threads. And there's quite a few on down in there. Don't max that out. Okay, what we achieved with all of that was this is in line with each other, and the adjustment on this here is the point where there's more adjustment either way in the future. If you needed to make a slight adjustment, you wouldn't have to go through all this here. But everything's in alignment, and it's pretty true up and down this way. We've got plenty of clearance, and this is to the point where that if you come around here and fly the governor weights out and hold them, wedge them out there with your two fingers, and then you come back around here and you look at this right here, you will have maxed out the flapper about a 1/16 ago. So And that's the way that works by this right here. You know, let's put them things on there. Hook up the governor springs up there. I have these just set on nothing right there for a really slow running engine. I really don't advocate removing them, just adjust them to that amount. But on that little thing in yonder, you get a spring that fits up in that little thing, and then you get a little cast iron thing that they machined. To come up there, and then it's a little cinch nut goes on the bottom down there. You know, once you get that adjusted, tighten up on this, and that's what you'll have. But that's for the last minute adjustment up there. Now that's not to have any tension on it now, other than enough to hold the spring in place. That don't come into play until the fine tuning, so to speak. But everything's tight. So, you know, that's about all you can say about a governor on an M. There's a flapper in there, and centrifugal flyball. When the flywheels gets going around, they fly out, flying yonder. That's under two of them, and that pulls that over, and that pulling over on a offset angle crossways makes this into a lever, and as the engine comes out, that goes up right there and closes off the flapper inside this housing, sucking fuel down in there. So with that said, I think all I have to do is set these flywheel tight with the gib key, and that's nothing more than, both of them are loose, so I'll push that crankshaft over yonder way, make a note of it, mark it there, and then push it back, make a note of it, and then I'll push it back halfway, and then set the flywheels tight, and we'll be ready to start this engine.